back here on Southeast Sports Plus. We have Noah Gross in the house. We've had a lot of Austin this week. There's a lot going on over there with a new defensive coordinator in Will Muschamp. Noah, first of all, thank you so much for your time here. We will get into this huge matchup with Michigan coming up. But we got Roger's thoughts yesterday on the Muschamp news. How'd that land with you, knowing that it's a guy that is a former SEC head coach and with the track record that he has?
Yeah, to me, this is a pretty aggressive move by Sark to be able to let go a guy in Pete Kwiatkowski that has been receiving largely rave reviews from everybody around this Texas program. You ask any of the defenders, and they'll just gush about Pete Kwiatkowski and his knowledge of the game. But Sark spoke today about bringing in Muschamp, letting Kwiatkowski go, and a couple of things are very interesting in the discussion today. One, Sark loves the energy that Muschamp brings. I know you guys have talked about covering him before. There's video of him playing or coaching at Texas from 2008 to 2010, and he's just like, you know, as the announcer said, like on 6 Red Bulls, like chest bumping everybody, like he's just like, he has the energy of a strength coach, which is crazy. But Sark's like reference, like that's what they want and that's what they need. And one of their other guys on defense, Johnny Anson, who's coached linebackers and has been the co-DC previously, brings that juice as well. And Sark was like, that's what we need. Whereas Pete Kwiatkowski's like so reserved and like a tactician, but Sark was like, they need to be more aggressive quick. In the SEC, like you can't take a step back, and Muschamp just seems like an absolute leader of that unit. And one other thing he mentioned was, Texas took a bit of a step back this year, kind of on both sides. The defense was rough at points, but the offense was kind of inefficient. Sark was like, hiring Muschamp frees me up to work on the offense more, where he's like, I don't have to worry about that. I trust him so much where it's like he's the ultimate leader on that back end, and I don't have to worry about it. So that is like he thinks a huge plus, and that's going to help the offense as well.
Do you think part of this was also trying to fire Dwayne Akina?
Yeah, I mean, coaches love coaches, so they're not going to badmouth anybody that leaves. And like I always say, if you ask a coach about an opponent, guaranteed it could be an 0-10 group of toddlers. They'd be like, well, it's a very well-coached program over there, like no matter what. But so Sark was asked about Akina leaving, and he, like Muschamp, was here previously in some of those golden days and came back. And Sark was kind of open about the back end not being what it was or what he expected it to be. We were listening to that press conference today, and he didn't go out and say, like, Akina didn't do this, Akina didn't do that. He didn't even mention his name. But he was like, the defensive backfield was a bit of a struggle this past year and some communication issues. And this is a unit that came in so talented, and I think some of their players took a step back. I think Michael Taft didn't have the year he was hoping for. He had to fight through some things as well. But they had some, I think, more youngsters play than they wanted. So it was a group that didn't quite exceed expectations the way they wanted. So, Akina's certainly part of it. And then with Muschamp coming in, I don't think he's going to be a full-time positional coach as well, but Sark said to start, he's going to work mostly with the defensive backs.
Absolutely. The other bit of news today was on the offensive side, is Arch Manning saying that he was coming back in 2026. In fact, I think the actual wording of it was that, I guess, a representative or somebody said it, I guess, for him. I don't know if he has said it, because I don't think he said it with his own mouth.
His dad said it, right?
I think, but was it his dad, or was it his granddad? Somebody said it, but Roger clarified the fact that we hadn't heard it from him. And all signs point to him being a Longhorn in 2026. I thought the breaking news would be the other way around. Either he's going to the pros, or if he is entering the transfer portal. But using this bowl game and what he can be in 2026, what are your prospects on Arch as he ends the 2025 season from hype to finishing the season?
Yeah, I think he's ending it in a really good spot for this Texas team. And we talked a couple weeks ago about it'll be interesting to see which players enter the transfer portal for Texas, and there's not many I would be surprised by. C.J. Baxter, one that I certainly was not surprised by hitting the transfer portal. DeAndre Moore, a guy that preseason, well, now he's in the portal, but preseason when he was talking to us, he said his goal was to win the Blitnikoff, best receiver in the country. And, like, he was one of the players where, like, you couldn't even laugh at him for saying that. Like, he was one of the best guys in the country, and he's just been getting better and better every year in Austin. So he loses a major weapon there. Ryan Wingo didn't have the year he wanted to. So we'll see that that's another position group. I think wide receiver and defensive back, where they thought they were so loaded, but they ended up having to play more young guys than they anticipated because of injury and then some not so great performances. So I think Sark has referenced when Sark talks about a guy a lot, a young guy that, I or other media members or fans might like brush off and be like, okay, he's just gassing this guy up. He means it. And I think Dalen McCutcheon is one of those guys who got more run late in the year, and a player that maybe a lot of fans haven't heard of or aren't that familiar with. I think he's going to get a lot of run in this bowl game as well, and they're really comfortable with him kind of stepping into that DeAndre Moore role. We'll see how well he's able to do it. But yeah, for Arch, I think he's ending it in a really good spot regardless of what happens on New Year's Eve day.
I believe that we're 2 weeks to the day away from the transfer portal opening. Which position group would you expect Sark and the Longhorns to target the most?
Yeah, well, they're already in a fight for the running back from Florida, so running back room and then offensive line as well. We'll see defensively. I didn't think linebacker was going to have to be one of those, but with Anthony Hill in the draft, Leonga Lafau in the transfer portal as well, those were their main two guys. And yes, they like Ty Anthony Smith, but if he's like your unquestioned number one, that's not where you want to be heading into this next season. So Texas has, it seems like, don't have their financials in front of me. I'm not their general manager, but it seems like they have more money to play with this year and bringing people in. And that's a good thing, but it's also, in my opinion, a bad thing because the last couple of years they have not had as many holes to fill. It's been very targeted. It's like, okay, this is a luxury ad here. You get one good edge, and then you maybe can add a receiver there. But this year, it's clear. They need maybe 6 or to 8 impact players if you combine offense and defense. So I think that's going to be a big focus for Texas. And there's a decent amount of positions. So I think they're going to be very aggressive early on. And Sark, another thing he's mentioned is the silver lining of not making the playoff is, the last couple of years, it's Big 12 championship, college football playoff. Then it's SEC championship, college football playoff. You have so much more time now, as he says, to audit the program. And that's part of the reason why this firing and hiring happened, because he's like, we could kind of see the cracks before, but everything is moving so quick and they kept winning that they couldn't really slow it down. So now you have time to attack the portal in a different way. So it doesn't surprise me that there's a lot of players leaving and there'll be ones coming in.
Do you believe that what the return on the people that they do get will outweigh what they already have? I know getting Muschamp in the building will be huge, but also, from a financial perspective, they're one of few schools that really don't have to worry about being outbid by a lot of other people. I know the House Sentiment's coming in and all of that, but do you expect this team, when they come back next year, to look completely retooled? I think a lot like what we saw with the New England Patriots. They just overhauled it in 1 year. The team looked different. Do you think that's going to be the case with Texas?
I think Texas, not that they lost direction this past year, but they were so talented, but a lot of the pieces didn't quite fit as well as they had anticipated, I think. So especially offensively, they kind of figured out what worked and what didn't. And that's why a lot of those young guys got some more run late in the season. It's because everyone that you were expecting early in the season to be like the unquestioned alpha in this room wasn't living up to expectation. So, yeah, I believe in their transfer portal philosophy. I'll be honest. They've had a couple maybe not as big hits as they've wanted over the past couple of years. I think 2 years ago when they got Trey Moore from UTSA, the edge rusher, and he was like the guy in the portal. And they didn't need a ton that year. He kind of started slow, and he was good for Texas, but I don't think he was quite what they expected him to be. But for the Longhorns, I think you look at an anchor of a team, right? What are the most important positions in football? Quarterback, unquestioned. I think Arch Manning is everything they're going to want him to be next year. Left tackle, Trevor Gooseby was one of the best in the SEC, stepping into his first year full starting. Edge rusher, Colin Simmons is probably the best in college football. So they have those positions figured out. And that's what I think is the anchor of this team. And all those guys are, Arch will be heading into his second year starting, fourth year overall. Anthony Hill Colin Simmons will be heading into his third year, and then Trevor Gooseby his third year as well. So these are some veterans that this team is anchored by. So it can be some complementary pieces in the transfer portal.
I want to touch on one guy that you mentioned that Texas might be linked to in Jaden Baugh. And there's been some talk about, Texas was tampering with him to try to get him to enter the portal. And my answer to that is everybody does it, so quit complaining. Yeah. But how big of a get would it be for Sark if they were to land Jaden Baugh from Florida?
It's interesting because I want to believe in Trey Wisner, what he's done for Texas the past couple of years. But for him to be the guy, no doubt about it, is a bit of a question mark, and he wasn't even that this past year. He had some good games late in the season, but man, he did not have the same explosiveness that Texas fans were hoping for and the team was hoping for as well. And he's such a patient runner, but sometimes it just doesn't appear that he can hit the hole with the same ferocity that someone else can. And then this last year they had CJ Baxter, who was clearly still hobbled, not himself, not what they wanted him to be. So there was a lack of explosiveness. So if they can get Baugh, I think that would totally change the running back room. And I think Texas has already had some youngsters like Ricky Stewart enter the transfer portal again. So there might be writing on the wall that like running back has been a depth room for Texas the past couple of years where they've had a lot of guys been able to contribute. But I think they want a dog in that room. Sark's always talked about, I think every year before this, he's had a 1,000-year rusher as a head coach or OC, something like that. This year didn't get close. The running game was very, very non-existent for much of the year. So I think they want an unquestioned number one guy, and I don't think that's going to be Wisner. So if it's Baugh or somebody else, that would not surprise me.
Absolutely. Let's flip over to hoops now. Texas will close out the regular season against a team that, quite frankly, I never heard of, but they're right there in your neck of the woods, Maryland Eastern Shore.
Princess Anne. Princess Anne.
I had never heard of this team, but then they'll open up SEC play right after that. I just saw their schedule. It is Tennessee, Alabama, Vandy, 2 of those on the road. That is a daunting schedule over the next about 2 weeks or so. What do you think this team is? I'm going to go ahead and give them the win over Eastern Shore. So 9-4 going into SEC play. Where do you see them as they go into the conference?
Maryland Eastern Shore, I do know. You have a friend from the Eastern Shore, and they did play against Maryland one of the years I was in school. You know, not historically not a great program. So I think that's fair to assume Texas will take down the Warhawks or some sort of Hawks, whatever type of avian mascot they have.
The Hawks, you got it. The Eastern Shore Hawks.
Okay, Hawks.
That's ball knowledge.
But as Texas heads into SEC play, the problem for the Longhorns last year on the men's side was they did not get at all what they wanted from the transfer portal. As many teams in college basketball they were like totally anchored by the portal. They had like 1 or 2 players returned, and those guys were injured. And Texas got a couple players from Indiana State last year. Didn't pan out at all. Jason Kent, Julian Larry, they didn't live up to expectation. A couple of these, I think Texas targeted veterans that had winning pedigree and were like decent role players at previous schools. Think about Simeon Wilcher at St. John's, Camden Heide at Purdue. These guys, to me, need to have bigger roles. And Texas targeted them and thought, okay, they can have a bigger role here. They know how to handle big games, which I'm sure they do. But so far, it's been kind of a feeling out process for this team where, like, it's not one of those teams where you're like, man, anybody can step up and have 25 on any given night. And all those good teams are saying that's what makes us great. Texas is not there yet. I think they need to have all these transfers that were like the 3rd or 4th option on their previous school need to be like, maybe it's my night to be the first option, because right now the offensive game isn't quite where it needs to be. I'm confident Sean Miller will get them better defensively because that's been an issue as well.
Noah, I'll give you about 30 seconds to a minute to talk about that Maryland-Michigan game.
Yeah, actually, I was in the state of Maryland, and I was watching with my friend in Baltimore at a sports bar, and we were debating on should we go to the game or not. You know, there was a red out, it was rocking. But as soon as I thought about it, I'm like, oh, they're going to lose by 75, so I might as well not make it to the game. And I will say, like, that team actually fought, and 2 of their best players, one was ejected, one was hurt. Pharrell Payne, please stop playing with my heart like that, man. So, Maryland played as good a game as they have all season, which is rough that you played as good a game as you have all season and, like, still lost by 15 or 20 at home. So, you know, the ceiling is very low for that team, but that was slightly encouraging.
No, hopefully at this time of the year next year, we're going to be talking about Maryland and Texas in the first round of the college football playoff.
Hopefully.
Man, you will not see me. I will be at the game, okay?
I expect live updates from you.
I love it.
Yeah, I'll be a mess.
No, you're awesome, man.
Yes,
thank you so much for your time, man. I appreciate it here on Southeast Sports Plus.
Happy holidays.
All right, happy holidays, guys. Go Terps. Be well.
Go Terps. Gotta love it from our good buddy Noah Gross. And I pulled up the schedule just to find out who Texas' first 5 games were in the SEC, and I saw Maryland Eastern Shore. Like, I hear of new college basketball teams all the time, This is Exhibit A today.
I had to look that one up. I'm pretty familiar with Maryland. My fiance is from there, but I saw it was closer to Salisbury, Maryland, which I've actually flown into that airport before. And let me tell you, you step foot off the plane and you're within a minute you can be out to your car.
Wow.
Yes,
wow. So like the most efficient airport of all time.
Yes, you literally, there's no jet bridge, there's no nothing. You just walk down the stairs off the plane, walk through the lobby, which is probably no bigger than this studio, and then you can just go to your car and be on your way in 2 minutes getting off the plane.
Shout out Maryland Eastern.
Talk about you want like private jet experience. There you
go. Private jet experience at a commercial airport. We will close up this show here on Southeast Sports Plus ahead of the college football playoffs. Stay with us.